Hello everybody, welcome to a new track guide. Today we're at Long Beach in the new tyre model for IMSA Open, so we're running the P1 dock set. So let's look at what a competitive lap will look like. So a competitive lap seems like to be a mid 211.5, whatever, or a high 211. That seems to be really competitive. It seems like no one else can really get into this 211 range, apart from like one person in each split. So, you know, if you do a 211, you should be good. So this lap was a 211.995, which is pretty, you know, it's okay. It's not the fastest lap, but it's really sunny out, and I can't be bothered staying inside all day. So I just quickly was like, you know, I'll brew this lap guide up. I'm still gonna like go through a lot of pointers. You know, I'm not gonna give you loads of like really bad tips and tricks. Like I just want to, you know, I just wanted to be outside a bit more today. So, you know, I decided to do this, but it's not the best. But you probably will find some little pointers that will help you. I know I'm losing time, so I'll point those out, and you'll be able to sort of visualize what a 211.5 lap will look like. Okay, so let's go to the out lap of the stint. So I'm pretty sure this is the out lap, right? Should be anyway, because there's a few important things that we need to know. Why does it not show the? Okay, it must be this one. Okay, yeah. So this is okay. So we just did the out lap, now onto our first lap. So pretend this is qualifying. So what we do is we go into like fourth gear on the straight, and we just smash the limiter in fourth gear because we're not accelerating anymore, and we just weave left and right. But be careful here. So we feel the maximum point of resistance when you turn the wheel. When you're going right, let's say, you feel the maximum resistance on the right. That's when you know you're right on the limit, and that you don't turn the wheel more. Because in my cold tyre sort of tips and tricks, we learned that, you know, we need to condition the tyres, so we can't just scrub them in by doing max lock to lock. So that's really important to know. So just weave left and right on the straight, sort of like this, making sure not to really like scrub them, but get heat into them. So this is fine. And then, you know, you will sacrifice one lap by doing this, but I think it's worth it. I mean, if you're confident of being able to put down a one lap qualifying, and that's like a good quali lap, then do this. If you're like still struggling to be consistent, I'd say don't do this, because obviously you'll only have one lap to put a good time down. So again, on this straight, we could either do it in third or fourth gear. I did it in fourth here, but I think experiment with third gear. I think that'll be a good gear to choose from, and just smash the limiter. Yeah, there we go. And then once we do that, to set up the quali lap, it would be, so yeah, I didn't do it here. Go all the way out wide and then cut back in. That'll set up your quali lap really nicely. Okay, so now let's look at the fast lap. Okay, so coming down the straight, we're just hugging the right hand side. Okay, so we're in top gear here, and what board we were looking for. So previously we could brake quite late when we hit this foreboard. It's just a bit before then. Track limit still to stay the same, so the middle of your wheel can be on this red line, but it can't be much more than that, otherwise you will get a slowdown penalty. So we shift down into second, and we get onto this curb, but you see the raised part, you don't really want to hit that too hard. If you hit it too hard, it'll bounce you. So just use a little bit of it. Then we keep tight here. Don't be tempted to come in here too early, because if you come in too early, then you're going to have to take this roundabout on like you're going to straight line this roundabout, but you're going to run into the wall. So I'd recommend just to, you know, stay right here, and then once it starts opening up a little bit, come back in, and then open it up. So we flick left on the wheel, and then we flick right. And once we spot our exit, we get back on the throttle, but don't get to 100% right away. Just sort of avoid too much wheel spin here, because it's quite easy to do. So we'll be in top of second, and the next braking marker is this like graphic here. So we hold second gear, we just cut as much as possible, but again, the raised curb here, use a little bit of it, but not too much. So we have two options here. Either we can smash the top of second gear, or we can go into third very briefly and shift back into second. The only problem with going into third is that timing seems a little bit off, to the point where as soon as you get into third, it's time to start braking. So my recommendation is just to smash second. It depends on track conditions, because the track conditions feel really, really greasy. I don't know why. Because I was doing another test session, I think a week ago, and I managed to get a 211 flat. But that was like a practice, and it was using these track conditions. But I think they're just different this week or something, because it feels really greasy. So yeah, so just go in second through here, and then the track limit is, so you can get your left wheels on that curb right there. I'm going to far chase. So it's sort of like that. We can cut a little bit more than this. As long as our left wheels hit this, you're good. But the thing is, what you want to do, so as soon as we sort of get up to it here, we want to release the brake, because we don't want the suspension to be down, and then when we go over this curb, it'll shoot back up, because we have elastic potential energy when the suspension is compressed. So as soon as we go over this curb, it's going to shoot us up, and we're going to lose traction. So coasting is actually okay here. You see, it's very brief, but it is just it's a minute bit of coast. It's measurable. So yeah, as soon as you land, get back on the throttle. Right. Okay, now we brake at the 200 board. This braking zone is really tricky because there's a bump on the later stage of the braking zone, which makes the tail come out. So it's worth here just being dynamic on the brake, and once you predict the bump and then release as you're predicting it, and then that should stop you from oversteering. But it depends what car you drive as well, because this P1 dock set, the brake bias is really low, so we get rear brake locking in this car, which means that when you hit this bump, it just sends the tail out crazily, like it just makes it mad. So yeah, keep that in your mind. Yeah, so and then we just get as close as possible to the wall. And you might be tempted to go all the way out wide here, but I don't think it's necessary. As long as you should be spat on the right hand side, but not all the way out. And just be careful here, because there's loads of undulations in the road, so if you get on the throttle too early, you will spin. Okay, next braking zone is this 200 board, and this corner is really hard now, especially with this new tyre model. The car really just wants to kill you. So what I'd recommend is just going into second, and just cut a lot, and just be patient on the throttle. So you can get really way up into this wall. It's quite easy to hit it though, so beware. Okay, and then we have two options here as well. We can either go on the right, and you see there's a little opening in the wall. If we just go on the right and then brake diagonally into it, we can open up the track, which I should have done here. I was just I don't know why I didn't do it. I was doing it in the previous laps. I just decided not to. So yeah, I'd recommend going in the middle of the road, braking diagonally into this little crevice, and then once you hit the crevice, you can just open it up and you can take a faster line. But yeah. So it's the 400 board. We could use the brake out the 300 here. No, absolutely not anymore. It's crazy how much we've had to pull back our braking zones. So yeah, brake at the 400 board. That is the 400, right? Yeah, it is. Brake at the 400 and get into this little crevice here. And then once you're here, you can shift down into second nicely, and I'll show you the line. So we can get the middle of the car over this raised curb, and we just don't really want our left or right wheels on it, because it's really rough. And then here we get back on the throttle momentarily, sort of aim for the middle of the track, and then just hold a very light pressure throughout this entire section. And then once you sort of get spat out the first one, you can have a period of where you get back on the throttle very momentarily. Okay, and then for the final corner, I really suck at this one, not gonna lie. So, you can look at my line, but I wouldn't really try to replicate it, just because I don't know. I really hate this corner. I just can't see where the apex is. But yeah, so what I do is I exit this curb on the left, go straight for a second, and then just smash the car in. And you can see I turned in too early there, which made me correct. And then once we start getting out, we get back on the throttle, but be really careful here not to spin the rear tires. Yep, and then that was a 211.995. Not the best, but you know, it'll do. Right, so I'll play that from start to finish. Okay, that was a full lap. So I'm gonna waffle now for a little bit. But yeah, thank you for all the subs, by the way. I'm pretty close to 200 now, 160 something like that. That's crazy. Didn't ever think I'd get that much. I mean, these are really bad. That's how I see them. I know I should put a lot more effort into these, but yeah, I'm pretty lazy with this sort of stuff. I just like to drive, to be honest. I do love explaining stuff. Like, I talk way too much. But that's just my personality of talking too much, going into depth too much. But yeah, so this track is really, really hard on this new tyre model. So don't be disheartened if you can't string the lap together, because it's hard. There's a reason why not many people are doing it. If like you see all these fast drivers that do IMSA Open usually, mate, they are gone. They don't want any sort of thing to do with this, because it's really tough track. You know, it's it's really hard. It's probably the hardest on this calendar. I don't know about Detroit though. I haven't done that. Or Belle Isle, or whatever it's called. I haven't tried that track. I've never seen it in my life. But yeah, as long as you're doing like, I'd say like even a 212 region, like that's okay, because it's only one person in each split issue running a 211. So 212 will give you what, you know, second, third podium. Let's see qualifying. Yeah, 212. I mean, obviously they're on cold tires though, because it's horrendous. Even on the old tyre model, you still had cold tires on the second lap. So yeah, a 212 is a good lap time. So don't be too disheartened if you can't get into the 211s. It's a really difficult combination. I think, yeah. So the Cadillac is the fastest car. I don't know where the Beamer lies in compared to the Ferrari. It just seems like no one really uses the Beamer. I don't know why, because it's really nice to drive. I think the setups, they're really tricky to drive. Like, it's tricky to drive, but it's very rewarding. I do like it. When I say it's easy to drive, though, because I've just contradicted myself really badly, it's easy to drive in the fact that the on-throttle oversteer that you get in this new tyre model is very little with this car. Well, no, it's not little, but it's little compared to all the others. But the braking is the hardest thing with this car. Because the setups all run really a lot of rear brake bias. The stock setup is horrendous, by the way, for the Beamer. I don't know about the other cars, but it's horrendous because you get on throttle oversteer and then you have under brake understeer. So you get front inside lock in, front lock in. So what these sets have done is just put the brake bias all the way back. That seems to work quite well, but the side effect of it is that you have, you know, very tricky brakes when you're on the limit of braking. So it's just, yeah, when you decide the GTP cars, like if you want to run top split and be competitive, just go for the fastest car. Like, I'm sorry, but people say, oh, it only makes a little bit. No, it makes a big difference. Like when the Acura was the fastest car, that was ridiculous. If you didn't use it, you're literally like half a second off the pace guaranteed. So yeah, a faster car does give you a huge advantage. Don't get me wrong, it really does. So yeah, because I had someone say that they're switching back to GTPs, so I wanted to clarify that, because it seems like the Ferrari, Beamer, and Cadillac are the best. Porsche, because I have to run I might be running either, the Portimao, 1,000 kilometers. We're running the Porsche. I absolutely hate that car. It's just so bad. Like, I don't know why people run it. I mean, I love Porsche. I have a Lego Porsche right next to me, right? I love that thing, but in iRacing it sucks. So, yeah. Alright, well, I hope you found this guide helpful. Thank you for watching.